Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the second part of the Tales from the Wandering Scribe author interview with Jon McBrine. In our last episode, Jon was telling us about some of his favorite scenes that he has written over his incredible series. And this leads into a question that I have been very, very interested in asking. Now, Jon, as mentioned in your bio, you love talking about superheroes, good versus evil, and capes, spandex, the mask, the whole
Yeah.
shebang. Now,
Mhm.
I'm just very curious. Is there another type of storytelling medium that you would like to see your works adapted into?
I think you would fit and translate very well to an actual comic book or even a comic strip. And as someone who's interested in illustration, drawing myself, that is something that I definitely want to explore. It comes down to a time thing. So this is why, well, it's a time thing as far as availability for myself, but it's also, well, if you read my books, there is interior art and the sketchbook of Eric. He has this. At the beginning of each chapter, the chapter start image is a. It's like it's part of Eric's sketchbook, so it's what he draws, right? And it's me doing it, and I like to say I'm drawing in character, but in reality, I have the skill level of a fictional 14-year-old boy. So I, so I think I can, for what I like to draw, it's fine for what it's intended to be. Everyone's their own worst critic, but if for like a full-on comic book, which this would be great for, I there's a point of pride where I'm thinking I should do it myself, but I'm also like I don't do things. I don't know if I would have the time commitment to really deliver something in a satisfactory amount of time. And also, I think I would like someone who's just a little more skilled, someone who's a little bit better at it. As And so that would be something I would have to be like, I would have to outsource. And that brings me to the audiobook I've been wanting to come out with for this forever now. I would love to have an audiobook. I'm a big audiobook listener myself. I listen to audiobooks more than I read. So, of course, I would love to have an audiobook. And I have had in my mind where I was going to record it myself, give it a go, try it out.
Mm.
And that comes back to, even if I think I like my equipment that I have, my space I have in my house. I don't really dedicate it like a studio space to my house for like audio recording, like really good audio for like an audiobook. But it comes back down to time. I think I would have to, I think that's another thing I'd have to outsource. So as much as I would love just to say I did everything myself, I simply just can't. And that would be something I would have to just look into. I think the audiobook maybe be a little easier to get, but as far as just different media types, oh man, you name it, I could make a version of it, like comic book, audiobook version, animation, um, audio only, full cast dramatization, smoke signal. You literally you name it, I can adapt it.
Absolutely. And I gotta tell you, like, how many times I've actually been asked by a lot of friends of mine who have even asked, when is the audiobook of The Gathering coming out? When is the
Yeah.
audiobook of Son of Persia, Wolf of Rome, or Michael
Mhm.
coming out? And the thing that people don't really take into account is, as fun of those medium types are, and they are very popular, for us indie authors, it's a venture. It is a very expensive
It's yes.
venture because to hire a full-on narration team, whether it's one person, two people, or a full cast at most, we're talking at least maybe 10 grand or
Yeah.
20 grand because
It's not it's like just to like, if you're an indie author like me,
mm,
us indie authors, it takes we are sweating like $50. We are like, ooh, $100, or like I'm for this Comic Con appearances I'm getting ready for just for my table. I'm having to be like very like selective about like how much I want to spend for my little freebie stuff or at my table. I'm like, it starts getting to like $300. I'm like, whoa, slow down. You know what I mean? Because we have to be realistic about
Right.
not just, and even if we have like, oh, I got money to burn, baby, I'm just paying for everything. Money's no object. You still have to be like, what is my return? What am I
Investment.
getting? Yeah. So I'm like, you could say like, oh, money's no object. You could even say that. I'm like, okay, but I'm still going to be smart about what I'm spending. So yes, audiobooks are incredible. I love them. And that's, but like you said, it's, and the thing is, full respect to the voiceover actors because they aren't just hopping out of bed and being like, oh, I think I'll record today. It's a full performance for them. It's a lot of technical aspects to it. It's a whole field of, it's a whole professional field to go into. It's not just something people just decide to do. Although I, there was me wanting to give it a go for myself. You know what I mean? Just to, because I've had people like my wife says, "Oh, you have a good voice to do it." Blah blah blah. I'm like, appreciate that, but it would take me probably like 3 years to complete off and on and doing the editing. So I'm like, just for time's sake, it would probably be something I would force. But then again, it's a crazy price level, so it's like, yeah, you know what I mean? I would love to come out with these different versions, but, you know what I mean? So, you
Yeah,
just have to wait.
absolutely. And not even just audiobooks, let's also talk about like graphic novels or comic adaptations.
Yes,
I
yeah,
cannot tell you how many times I've been approached by independent artists and independent comic writers who want to adapt like our works into that medium. But that kind of leads into another discussion which I actually had with a friend of mine, and
yeah,
it is, how do I best say it? As from what he has said in his own experiences, he's been approached by these people online through Instagram mostly about graphic artists wanting to adapt. And in an age
yes,
where, one could be catfished or one could be so and so, it's really hard to like really know who is, telling the truth and who isn't, because there are those who are independent comic writers, who are independent illustrators, graphic designers, who are legitimate, and this is like their business, which is their career, and all the power to them. I think we should work
yes,
with those people. But there are those who are illustrators but they're not comic artists or comic writers, and it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those situations that always seems to come up that in the indie
yeah.
community.
Well, the thing is about every author unfortunately has to experience this, no matter what level they're at in their author career or just in their author life. You get bombarded with scammers all the
Hmm.
time, and I just ignore them now. I don't even bother. And sometimes you'll see somebody on your Instagram that's like, and sometimes they'll seem real or even genuine, but I'm like, I can't, really pay this any attention because of some illustrator be like, hey, if you ever want your work done, blah, 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 blah.
Yes, I've done the same
Like,
one numerous times.
and I'm like, yeah, of course I would. If I was in a position where I was able to do that, just real talk, I would probably already be doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I would either do it myself or pay someone else to do it. Either way, it comes down to time and money. You know what I mean? And because like the reality of being an independent author is, and I discovered this fairly early on. I probably said this even on my last appearance last year because it just hasn't changed. You really need a full-time staff dedicated just for even one book. And it's
Yes.
usually just you. Some people have awesome support systems, but a lot of the times it's you in the margins of your life trying to get this huge project off the ground, and the odds are already stacked against you because you have to be noticed. And just for me, I feel like well, I know I'm an oddball author because one thing, I haven't been as involved in the author community as I really should be because and that's a two-way street. You know what I mean? I have to kind of participate and be part of it. And that's something I want to be better at. But when I hop online to post for social media, like if you were to look at my social media, you'd be like, hey, John, you talk about movies and TV a lot. Do you even write books? And the thing is, for one thing, this could delve into a whole social media presence thing, but I know for me personally, that's just what I love to talk about online. And another real part about that is the data I receive, such as it is, way more engagement from me talking about Star Wars or something than my
Mm,
actual book. And I'm like, for the people who can talk about their books and they get engagement, that's wonderful. No shade. That's awesome. I support everybody. I wish them all success. I just know for me personally, no, I can't give my stuff away. It's like the plague in a bottle. I'm not selling that to anybody. You know what I mean? So I know that for me to get any attention, which, hey, I want attention. You know what I mean? Of course, I want attention. But I know for me, normally, if I talk about, like, hey, there's some interesting thing about a popular movie or some what I hope is a funny take, that will get and again, I'm not breaking internet with any numbers, but comparatively to just like, hey, I have a new book coming up. I'm like, people are like, man, get out of here. You know, I don't even look at that. But I'm like, oh, you mentioned some Star Wars thing. I'm either the comments I receive from my post that do get more engagement, and that's why I do them. They just normally get more engagement. Is I put out stuff that I think is funny and not meant to be taken seriously at all.
right.
But it's the internet, so you're gonna get person I take this too seriously. I'm being very literal. Or I'm gonna be instantly angry with you for some reason, and that's just the internet. And so I'm like, if I go into the internet like being a somewhat public person, I'm gonna be like, I have to understand that I'm going to be in the jungle here, and people are not going to be nice. And there's a story about how I lost access to my X account because I got hacked and quick note about that, I guess as long as I'm rambling, uh, I lost access to my X account due to a hack, and it could have been much worse. Nothing happened, but as much as I loved being on X, I wasn't really doing anything, and I wasn't really getting anything out of it for my author career. And my life instantaneously improved, and I benefited, and from not being on X so much anymore. And I'm not even an anti-X guy. It's just that particular platform. As soon as I just couldn't get on it anymore the way I used to, I started having so much more fun on the internet. That's just a whole side note thing. I've derailed because I ramble, but that's just I didn't even understand how I got here. But as if you heard me on the last interview, you know John rambles. So
Absolutely, John. Absolutely. And I'd actually take a little slight deviation because I also think it is important to talk about the other side of you, which is, of course, your YouTube channel and the videos
mm,
that you make there, which I've had a chance to listen to your more recent ones. They're very good. They're
thank you.
absolutely very good. I urge everyone to go and check them out. I'll link it down below in the description. Now, John, can you also walk us through that aspect of your journey as also being a YouTuber and
Yeah.
a podcaster as well? Because there's also a lot of steps that goes into like what kind of topics you're going to be focusing on,
Right.
outlining, and what do you hope like in terms of like engagement, which you kind of just teased at a little bit, like
Yeah.
certain fandoms will gain like a certain amount of clicks, so to speak.
Yeah. So wanting to make YouTube shorts and ideally longer form things, shorts, reels, videos. Yeah, it's just something that I enjoy doing first and foremost. But it is a perpetual state or a perpetual trial and error. It's just constant, like trying to figure out what seems to work in getting reactions from people because, like I said, I'm out for attention, I'm out for engagement. That's, you know, name of the game. But there's also like, what do I like doing? So there's the constant balance, and it's taken me a very long time. Like, and it's ever changing, but it's taken me a long time to try to figure out what lane I want to be in. Because I had stages where I'm just going to talk about books. I write books. I'm just talk about books. Well, I got bored with that after a while because I'm like, I can only talk about my same book so much, man, and it's not really getting attention anyway. And then you have to start thinking about, kind of like what I referenced earlier. You're on the internet, you're on social media. This is what people are expect to do when they get on here. So I'm going to have to play the game a little bit, but there's certain things I'm just not willing to do. I don't really do full on reaction videos. I don't do lip sync dances or anything like that.
Right.
But I'm also like, just trying to be like, what do I see on any TikTok? It doesn't matter. It could be Blue Sky. It doesn't matter. Like, what do people actually do? And so it's like, I have to be like, what am I willing to do for more trendy things? And what am I willing to do that's just something I just really like. And there was an era where I started talking about teen dramas a lot because I do genuinely love like Dawson's Creek and all that. I love going back and watching Smallville is one of my all-time faves.
Hmm.
And I went through a period where I'm like, that seemed to be getting a little bit of reaction. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. I love watching this. And but I kind of found that I don't watch stuff consistently to make like proper commentary videos on it. So it was just infrequent. So I'm like, I don't really think this is specifically what I want to do. Not that I will never like. I'm watching One Tree Hill for the first time. I want to comment on that. You know what I mean? But I'm like, but I'm also don't want to box myself in. So these are the kinds of things I'm thinking about like constantly. Like, what do I want to do? And over time, I was like, I'm not happy with the video quality. I'm not happy with my sound, my audio quality. Bought myself a better camera. I bought myself a better microphone. I figured out an editing app that I like, and I just figured out a style that I like. So, as you know, as a creator, there's a million little details that you're thinking of. And when you watch a video back, you're like, I don't like how that graphic was. I don't like how this is framed. And all like the little details that just for like maybe the video like that I produced, that's probably under a minute long. But I'm still looking at them like, was this lit well? Was this, you know what I mean? And so all of this is playing into the creative factor that hopefully, ideally, it will all funnel back to the books. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'll do like a what is supposed to be a funny video about He-Man. Is that
Right.
how is that directly gonna complement my book? I'm like, well, not directly, but over time, I've discovered if anything is gonna work for me as an individual, I don't really do book talk. I don't really do booktube. I don't really do it. I'm like, I have to do what comes more naturally and more authentic because people online they can sense fakery from a mile away. So
Yes.
I'm like, and again, like only I feel like in the past like couple of weeks, if I finally got to like a groove that I'm really comfortable with, and also just a schedule, going back to schedule, like when I want to record videos. Like we're recording this on a Thursday. Thursday night just happens to be what I decided. I'm going to just record a batch of videos. That's just what I'm going to do. I'm not doing it sporadically throughout the week. So all these other behind the scenes technical things just to come up with probably a goofy video. So there's a lot of serious thought that goes into an unserious video, but all this like, constant trial and error of just trying to figure out what's going to work. And the idea is I want to be an interesting enough personality online to where you'll be like, what is this guy deal? And this seems counterintuitive to me as an author because it's like You want people to be interested in this non-book related thing. So in hopes that they might look at your website and see that you write books. And my crazy answer is yes. Will that work? I have no clue, but
Mhm.
I'm enjoying the process. And again, ultimately, it's got to be fun to do because nobody's making me do this. I sure don't get paid to do it. And so it's like I have to find an avenue that I like doing in order for me to somehow participate in this giant game of social media and just being on the internet in general with the rules constantly changing. So I know that's an erratic, scatterbrained answer, but that's just how my mind works. You know what I mean? So, and as far as why I'm focusing on like pop culture, sci-fi, entertainment, TV, and movies, that is something that comes to me so naturally. That's sort of like the first love of entertainment, of course. And a lot of people watch TV and movies, and I do too.
Mhm.
So, and I figure it's all in the same realm of storytelling, in the same realm of sci-fi, just general nerdery, and just celebrating that and having fun. And I go in thinking like, here's my topic. What's the joke? You know what I mean? Like a recent video, I have an image of me, a really grotesque image of myself as Sonic the Hedgehog and a character called
Mhm.
Jonic, which is just like after saying that, good luck sleeping. But I'm like, how can I do this absurd thing and incorporate it in a video that hopefully people won't skip after like a millisecond? You know what I mean? So just trying to find what comes natural in the most unnatural way of doing it is how that sums up.
Absolutely, absolutely, John. And as we wrap up this incredible author interview, at the end of the day, what do you want people to take away from your stories, your creative process, and just you as a creative person? What is your word of wisdom?
My word of wisdom is you got to, like I pretty much repeating what I just said, and learn to enjoy the process. And also, if you enjoy the process, like for me, editing a little video I make that, hey, it may or may not even do numbers on the internet, but I have found that it's soothing for me to actually like edit one of these little things. I enjoy doing it. I legitimately and genuinely just enjoy the actual process of putting these things together. So if you see me putting them out a lot, it means I'm just happy doing it. And hopefully I'll get some positive engagement because I'm not out to there are people who have strong opinions on any issue, side of the issue, whatever, any side of the aisle. The best ones are already doing it. It's just not my kind of thing. So I'm just out trying to have some fun. And I hope people check out the books in the process.
Excellent. Well said, John. I'll link all those down below in the description of this video for John's socials, his books, and more. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude this amazing author interview here on Tales from the Wandering Scribe. I want to give a huge thank you to my friend John for coming back on the show. And if you want to see John's first appearance on the channel, I'll also be linking it at the end of this video as well. John, thank you so much for coming back on the show. Really do appreciate it. And if people wanted to meet you in person, where can they go and meet you?
So I have an upcoming author appearance at a Comic Con. I'm in the North Texas area, the DFW Dallas area. As of this recording, there's going to be in July the Cowtown Comic Con in Waxahachie, Texas. And also over at Labor Day weekend of this year in Arlington, Texas, there is another Comic Con appearance. My newsletter has actually been the best place to get all the updates. JonMcBrine.com is where you can find all the ways to get in contact with me. I'm all over social media, except for X, because I can't get on there anymore, which is kind of a good thing. But everywhere else, I am online, and I am not hard to find. I'm out here trying to say, look at me. So you won't miss me.
Awesome. As I said, I will link all that down below in the description of this video, viewers and listeners. I'll also be linking where you can buy John's books as well. and his YouTube channel, which I highly recommend you go and subscribe to his channel. You will not be disappointed. And as always, thank everyone for joining us for another amazing, incredible episode here on the channel. A huge thank you to my friend John for coming back on the show. And as you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to see more content like this, you know what you have to do. Like this video, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, this has been the Wandering Scribe and the Wandering Quill, signing out. Wish you all a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Happy Thursday, everybody, and take care.